Hey everyone, welcome back to First-Hand Globetrotting. Today, I'll tell you everything you need to know about Quebec City, Canada. It's got a lot going for it. It's the capital of the French-speaking province of Quebec, the heart of French Canada, and an incredible old walled city. So, as you'll see in this video, it's unlike any other city in North America. Before I start, the footage is from a trip I took a few years ago, so I apologize in advance since it's not as high quality as my newer stuff. But it should still show you all the great things to see, so you'll know exactly what to visit when you get there. Let's start with how to get there. If you're flying, you'll land in Quebec City's Jean-Lesage Airport, about a 30-minute drive from the city centre. It's not a huge airport, but there are some direct flights from Canadian and northeastern American cities. Another option is to take a train or bus to the Palace Station, called Gare de Palais in French. The station is really close to the city centre, only a 10-minute walk or so. As I said before, the highlight of Quebec City is the old walled city, so I definitely recommend you get a hotel as close to the old town as you can. That's where all the best sights and attractions are, plus the old city is so beautiful you'll want to be right in the heart of it. So what should you see in Old Town Quebec City? As soon as you get near the old city, the first thing you'll see is the wall. It's the only walled city in the US or Canada, so that really sets it apart. It's an old, imposing stone wall with a few gates that connect New Quebec City to the Old Town. But don't just look at it, make sure to climb up the stairs so you can get right on top of it. You can walk around and get a better look at how it's built, or look over the sides to get great views of both old and new Quebec City. But the wall's just the start. Once you step through the gates, you enter into Old Town Quebec City. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and feels a lot more like a European city than a North American one, especially since everything is in French. It has everything you'd expect: old architecture, narrow streets, and a lively atmosphere. One thing to check out is the iconic Chateau Frontenac. It's a beautiful old building that was built in the 1800s, and it looks more like a castle than a hotel. You can see it from just about everywhere in Old Town, which is why it's the most photographed hotel in the world. Nearby, you can explore the ruins of Chateau St. It was originally the residence of the governor of New France and later taken over by the British. Only the ruins are left, but it gives you a sense of what the original building would have looked like. Catholicism is the most prevalent religion in French Canada, so make sure to visit the Cathedral-Basiliaca of Notre-Dame-Des-Quebec. It's over 350 years old, making it the oldest Catholic church in Canada. Along with the size and beauty you'd expect from a prominent old church, its location right in the heart of Old Town makes it even more impressive. After you've explored things inside the wall, I recommend stepping outside into some of the old neighborhoods that make up Quebec City's lower town. The first is Place-Royale. It's the site of the first French settlement in North America, right along the banks of the St. Lawrence River. The heart of Place-Royale is the old market square. You can see the stone roads, the bust of Louis XIV, and the old Quebec City buildings surrounding it. On one of the buildings, there's a giant mural that shows a mix of classic and modern Quebec culture. It's definitely worth stopping by to see all the tiny details in it. Another central fixture is the Notre-Dame-Des-Victoires church. It's the oldest stone church in North America, so you should definitely stop in to have a look. The other lower town neighborhood I recommend is Petit Champlain. It has narrow stone streets filled with shops and restaurants, so it's a fun place to walk around and explore. Or you can just sit down at one of the cafes while you relax and enjoy the scenery. And because these are lower town neighborhoods, if you look up, you'll be able to catch a glimpse of the old city walls and the Chateau Frontenac looking down on you. A huge part of Quebec City's history is its role as a strategic military location. One of the most impressive displays of that is the Citadelle of Quebec. It has a distinctive pointed star shape and forms part of the wall that surrounds the rest of the city. It's the oldest military building in Canada and is still in use by the Canadian military today. Nearby, you can walk through the Plains of Abraham Park. France and Britain fought plenty of battles in Canada, but this was the site of one of their most important ones. It's a great place to take a walk and enjoy the green space, or if you're interested in the history, there's a small museum you can visit. If you want something a little more peaceful, you can visit the nearby Joan of Arc Garden. There are some nice flower beds to see and a central statue of Joan of Arc on horseback. I recommend taking a walk along the Governor's Promenade Boardwalk. It connects the Plains of Abraham to the area near the Chateau Frontenac. It's 310 steps along the boardwalk, but it'll give you some fantastic views of the St. Lawrence River. My food recommendation for this trip is a traditional French-Canadian dish, tourtière. It's a meat pie usually made with minced pork or beef and spices like cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. But it's a food that has hundreds of different recipes and variations, with every family having their own recipe. Of course, the best tourtière is usually homemade, but you shouldn't have much trouble finding some great examples of it in Quebec City. So that's Quebec City. I highly recommend it, especially if you want to stay in North America but get the sights and atmosphere of a European city. To start, the walled city and Old Town are unlike anything else that you'll see in the US or Canada. Plus, you'll get to immerse yourself right in the heart of French Canada. I love visiting French Canada, and I think Quebec City is a great first experience. You'll be able to experience history, see some great sights, and be exposed to some fantastic culture. Hopefully this helps you if you're planning your own trip to Quebec City. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to my channel. On Twitter, I'm Firsthand Globe. On Instagram, I'm Firsthand Globetrotting. Follow me on there. And don't forget, it's an incredible world out there, so pick up your passport and do some firsthand globetrotting of your own.